Food has always been important to me. It brings back memories and creates new ones, especially of home. I'm Xander Ng. Last year, I was crowned the winner of MasterChef Singapore. Since then, I've been collaborating with several local restaurants, sharing my passion for food on a bigger scale than I could have ever imagined. In this brand new season of Chef Mission, I'm leaving behind the comforts of Singapore. I will travel far.
So how long is this boat trip going to be?
4 hours.
4 hours one way.
Make difficult journeys,
Super bumpy.
overcome harsh terrain,
I'm exhausted. This thing is really, really heavy.
to meet 4 inspirational Singaporeans and replenish their hearts with a taste of home.
You know what this is?
Yeah.
Oh, chili.
Myanmar, a country caught in time. More than half a century ago, Myanmar's military regime closed its doors to the world. The economy stagnated. Today, it's still struggling to shed its past. Its population, mainly subsistence farmers, depend on its most important crop, rice.
For the moment I arrived, every dish I saw, there was rice. Everyone was eating rice. One rice as well?
Rice is a staple food around here. In fact, Myanmar is ranked 8th among the top rice-consuming countries in the world.
Rice is used all types of cuisines, all methods of cooking, any opportunity for a cook to visit the source, their ingredients. It's a dream for a cook.
So, I'm traveling to Labutta, a district in the Ayeyarwady region in southern Myanmar, where a third of the country's rice is grown.
I was like super pumped, like, yes, let's do it. And then I realized that we're going to be in the truck for nearly 8 hours. And I think what really topped it was when we had to catch a boat, a barge, to help us cross the river. I was like, wow, okay, the infrastructure here is lacking, greatly lacking.
Myanmar was once the world's biggest exporter of rice. In 1962, they exported over 1.7 million tons of rice. But Myanmar's self-imposed isolation saw numbers plunge. By 1997, rice exports had fallen more than 60 times.
Xander.
Hey, David.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, you made it.
Thank you.
There are a couple of reasons for the decline. Farmers' knowledge, they are not updated. The yield gets lower and lower. The other factor, climate change, is we've seen that the water is rising a lot higher. Water is getting salty and it's not suitable for rice production.
It's clear that major improvements, including better farming technology, was needed.
There are all sorts of rice here.
Singaporean David graduated with a degree in molecular biology and took an interest in the science of rice breeding. During a research trip to Myanmar in 2013, he noticed that rice production was heading towards an unsustainable future.
Today, I want to get some feedback from you. What do you want to see in the package?
4 years later, he co-founded Golden Sunland, Singapore's first rice-growing and developing company. Since then, he has created a higher-yielding seed for Myanmar.
The biggest difference is about 2 times, and minimum 30% better than the other varieties. We've seen some progress in terms of increase of export, but not at a rate where Myanmar can regain #1 position. That will still take a lot of effort.
Every morning, David's 12-hour workday starts with a stroll through Labutta.
Okay, Xanders, usually we leave at about 6 and come back about 6.
All right.
Right, we'll go that way. Let's get some light breakfast.
This is the spot?
Yeah, right
All
here.
right.
This is very typical breakfast here. Rice.
Yeah. I'm starting to see that.
David got married in early 2017, the same year he moved to Myanmar. His wife planned to move with him till she learned that she was expecting their first child, Zirei.
She just turned 1 recently, and every month they grow, every month they change. When I went back and I realized, hey, before I left, you were sitting down and now you're standing. And that's amazing. And my wife, she was like, yeah, she did that when you were away. So it's like, that didn't feel good.
My dad, he was doing sort of farming-ish, agricultural stuff.
Oh, so he was also involved in the agricultural industry as well.
Pretty much the whole reason why I'm involved.
Pretty much.
He was developing hybrid rice technology for the tropical region.
So at the point where my dad retired, I felt that we could have done more. Because the technology that we apply on the ground, we didn't structure it in a way that is suitable for these poorer smallholder farmers. So when we decided...
While David's father developed hybrid seeds that were successful during research, smallholder farmers had no means of affording them.
So what we do to help is we actually supply the seed in kind, and we only recover the cost at harvest. Our seed is good, but it's not magic.
When is the last time he put fertilizer?
We apply more than our recommendation.
Okay, how come? They think it's not enough.
Not enough.
Oh, actually,
No.
I've come to Myanmar to meet David Chen, a Singaporean who's creating a variety of hybrid rice seeds to help farmers improve their yields and livelihoods. Today, we're going to inspect a farm that has been using his seeds that promise a higher yield.
so let's head to the jetty right now.
The jetty, but I thought we're visiting a farm though. Why are we gonna...
We are in the Delta region, so the waterway is the only way to go.
Oh, okay. So how long is this boat trip gonna be?
Not too long.
Not too long?
Not too long, 4 hours.
4 hours one way.
Yeah, one way.
Roads are almost non-existent in the Labutta township.
So I guess with the infrastructure here, because everything has to run up and down the river, what kind of challenges do the farmers face then?
Every time at the end of the harvest, it will cost them about 12 Sing dollars to bring the produce to the town. 12 Sing dollars doesn't sound like a lot, but 12 Sing dollars is about 15% of the revenue they could generate from one harvest. Wow.
Because actually, how many harvests do they have in a single year?
They're maximum just 2 harvests a year over here.
Just 2.
Yeah.
After a harvest, the grain is stored in makeshift sheds like these before it's processed and sold.
The structures that are used to store the paddy is simply not good enough to store for a long time. And if the produce is moldy, they fetch very, very low price. So we try to reduce the exposure to post-harvest risk. We buy their produce fresh from the farm so that the farmers don't have to worry about storage, the farmers don't have to worry about processing. Overall, we see at least 30% betterment of their livelihood.
It's good to be on land.
Yeah, so this is one of the farms.
Today, 39 farmers, over 200 acres of land, are using David's hybrid seeds.
Okay, Xander, what do you think? Your right and your left.
Well, it's quite a Stark contrast, huh?
What you see here, these are two different types of seed. On your right are the ones that we are working together with the farmers, and on the left are the more traditional variety that they grow here.
It's like night and day, they were so different. One was not very dense at all. Plants were much lower. The yield was maybe like a third, and his just looked so much healthier. You know, it was a nice, vibrant green.
Hybrid rice opens up opportunity. So I was joking with Zender. I say, Zender, you are the best example of a hybrid Asian and Caucasian. So hybrid rice is basically the first generation of two very distinctly different varieties where we cross-pollinate.
Everyone has something they're passionate about, right? You know, for me, the moment I start talking about cooking, I'm just gonna talk until the end of the day. For him, his thing is rice.
So you see everything's lodged to one side.
Yep.
This is what we call panicles.
Panicles.
Look at how many spikelets there are.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So many words I've never heard of before, but like, he knows his stuff.
It's good. A little bit of yeah. Do you remember when is the last time he put fertilizer?
မျိုးစားနောက်ဆုံးချိန်ပေးမှာပေးထင်ကျွေးခဲ့တာလို့
နောက်ဆုံးကဘယ်လိုဖြစ်လဲဆိုတော့နောက်ဆုံးချိန်
I ran through the fertilization program with them and I was asking them how come they didn't follow the instruction.
An overabundance of fertilizer can deplete the quality of soil and reduce yield.
Is he able to follow our program?
They apply a little bit more than our recommendation.
Okay, how come?
I kind of know that it's because it's very different from what they have done for decades.
အဲ့ဒါပို့ကျွေးရတယ်ပို့ကျွေးလိုက်ရတယ်ပို့ကျွေးရတယ်
The solution is very simple. We just need to find a champion who's willing to give the program a shot for this champion to be successful, and we bring the rest of the farmers to visit this champion, and that will change things.
And time is running out for the farmers. Across Asia, Myanmar is the country most affected by the effects of climate change. Rice production in Myanmar could fall by more than 10% by the end of the century if no action is taken.
All right, Zender, we are here. I would like to show you the effect of climate change. Take a look. This is supposed to be the main irrigation pond for the rice field you see over there on the other side.
This was the pond.
Yes, and let me just reminding you, we are heading towards monsoon. So technically, we should have water in this pond.
It looks like a desert. It's cracking down there, it's so dry. So even with your seeds that you're gonna help to provide, if this happens, it's not gonna work.
It's not magic seed, man. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, water is necessary for rice farming. Those are not rice. Those are just wheat.
No.
Without water, the rice will simply not grow.
So what's gonna happen with the farmer who owns that plot of land?
He pretty much lost everything. It's going to be tough for some farmer this season going forward.
And it's cutthroat out here.
Yep. Traditionally, this is how they harvest the rice.
Yeah, once you get going, it's okay.
An acre of paddy requires about 50 man-hours to harvest manually. Unless you use a harvester like this, which would only take 6 hours or less. But most farmers don't have access to these machines. There are simply no roads to transport them here.
Zender was awfully quiet during the harvesting.
It's really hard work, guys. Really, really hard work. You're constantly having to bend over to get low enough so that you can cut the rice. And whilst you're doing it, you're getting scratched all over your arms.
But it's not easy work though, for sure. Right, turn. Bed breaking.
Yep, it is. Wow, it's been a long day, hasn't it?
This is one of my favorite spots in Labutta. Take a rest?
Well, yeah, all
Take
right.
a seat.
It's hard work, and to think that you have to manually go and check all of the fields, speak to all of the farmers. What keeps you going here?
This is something that I find very impactful, and especially now that I have a kid, you know, we tend to think about the next generation a lot, especially where the food is going to come from. I feel that a lot of us are losing that now, which is why we waste rice, we don't finish our rice.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's something that happens a lot
Yes.
back home.
Yes.
As the global population increase, I think rice consumption will continue to remain stable, if not increase further. But as climate change kick in, we all know that the amount of land for rice planting is going to reduce.
One of the biggest threats to food security are rising sea levels. As the sea level rises, water gets pushed inland by powerful storms to deadly effect.
They lost 80,000 people. I mean, 80,000 people, it was a hard thing to hear.
For the first time, journalists from ASEAN countries witnessed firsthand the Irrawaddy Delta region. This very area was devastated when Cyclone Nargis swept through the area. This is ground zero.
In May 2008, Cyclone Nargis struck Myanmar. In just 2 days, at least 138,000 people in Myanmar were killed. The district of Labutta, where a third of the nation's rice was grown, was ground zero. About a quarter of its population was dead or missing.
They lost 80,000 people. I mean, 80,000 people, it was a hard thing to hear.
It's been 11 years, but the rebuild is slow. Cyclone Nargis drenched the southern Irrawaddy region with salt water, carried from the seas, rendering more than half of its paddy land infertile.
This is the Samalak village, so one of those that suffered the consequences of the cyclone.
Singaporean David Chen witnessed the aftermath of the disaster when he moved to Myanmar in 2017 to develop hybrid rice seeds. And he wanted to help.
Agriculture is the main livelihood. So we come here and we try to increase the productivity, and a tiny step at a time, and hopefully years down the road they could build themselves something better.
Yeah.
Doc in Tay Win's paddy fields were destroyed by Cyclone Nargis. For 6 years, she had to rely on subsistence farming to survive, till the land could support small-scale farming again. But just 1 year after working with David's hybrid seed technology, her crops are thriving better than ever.
Since David has come to share some of the knowledge, has there been an increase in the yield? Has there been an improvement with our crops? Is this your farm? Wow, it's as far as the eye can see in all directions. It looks beautiful. Even after all that hardship, they just had that underlying spirit to never give up. And I think that's something that David sees in them and is one of the reasons why he chooses to work with them. As a thank you to David, I wanted just to show a little bit of appreciation in the way that I know best. And because he's been spending so much time away from home. And so I decided to cook, a Singaporean staple. I'm gonna cook him a killer bak kut teh. I opted for the local kampung chicken, which they have here. And I have to say, it was really good. There's rendered chicken fat. I'm telling you, it could be a thing. Someone back home should do it. Maybe I shouldn't too much already. Hey, David, come on in.
Where are you?
Come on in here.
You cook?
Yes, I did.
Not every day you get a master chef who cook dinner for you.
You recognize this? Hopefully.
It looks a little bit like bak kut teh. Is that chicken inside?
That is chicken.
That's right. Okay, the chicken really adds a very different flavor to the soup.
It does, right?
I think this is really nice because when I'm back home during the weekends, we don't go out. I just spend time with my wife and my baby.
Yeah.
Just have a big hot pot of soup. So this really reminds me of home.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm glad I can bring you that memory again.
So how's everything so far?
It's been a really eye-opening experience for me because rice is an ingredient that I've been cooking with and used for a long time. I've been eating since I was a child. And just to see the process from start to finish, hardship for the farmers, how many things can go wrong, it's really made me appreciate how lucky we are just to be able to have a simple bowl of rice.
Thanks again for coming, and thank you very much for this meal.
You are most welcome. Come, let's eat.
All right.
Yeah, help yourself.